Hi, welcome. It's Jackie from Cambridge Safety in Peterborough. Welcome to one of our short Take 5 Minutes for Health and Safety videos. In this particular video, we're going to look at leptospirosis. You may be more aware of this biological agent by its non-formal name, which is Weils disease, even though it's spelt with a W. So leptospirosis. So Leptospira is the name of the bacteria, because bacteria are often classified by shape. They're either round, like a sphere, they can be a rod, or a spira. And you can see here, so Leptospira is a spiral shape. So the Leptospira bacteria leads to leptospirosis, which is the ill health condition. It's also known as Harjo. So Leptospira, where does it come from? It's found in the rats. So Leptospira, where does it come from? Well, commonly it's found in the kidney of rats. It can also be in the cattle. And if it's in the kidney, it then passes out in the urine. So rats don't have a bladder. So wherever you've got rats, you're going to have potentially some rats urinating. And then that urine goes into water, ditches, puddles, canals, and the soil. So anywhere where you've got rats, you're quite likely to have the Leptospira bacteria. So occupations at risk, people who are going to be potentially coming into contact with the soil and water. So coal miners, sewage workers, construction workers, agriculture, forestry, landscape gardeners, etc. are all potentially at risk from leptospirosis. So in terms of, so we have the rats, we've got a rat, it's got the bacteria in its kidney, it urinates, the urine goes into puddles or onto the soil. Then it can be entry into the human body either by a cut, through the mouth, through the eyes, through splashes, etc. And can also be made worse if people working in these areas, if they operate poor personal hygiene, so they're not washing their hands, not covering cuts. So the bacteria has actually got to get into the body. So usually it's a cut or through the mouth or potentially the eyes, but usually a cut or the mouth, so splashes. So symptoms, we say flu-like symptoms, but what do we mean? Flu, fever, hot and cold. It can lead to a secondary jaundice where you get literally liver problems, secondary fever, lethargy. Majority of people will recover, but it can be fatal. So if people work in situations where they might be in contact with the Leptospira bacteria, if they go to the doctors with flu-like symptoms, they need to tell them that it could potentially be leptospirosis rather than ordinary flu, because they need to get a certain antibiotic and they need to get it very quickly to reduce the severity of the symptoms. So in terms of practical controls from a workplace, it's all about rats. So if we can control the rat population, so good pest control, good waste management, so we're not encouraging rats. So if we've got bins, they're regularly emptied, they've got lids on, etc. Immunisation, that's not the rats. If you've got a cat or a dog, your immunisation will be for Leptospira, but even things like cattle, that type of thing. But you can get prophylaxis. If we think you're being subject to Leptospira, prophylaxis is then you having antibiotics as soon as possible afterwards to stop the condition from actually coming out. So normally we'll get our workers, we'll brief them, we'll train them, they'll carry a warning card to let the doctor know this could be leptospirosis. It's all about very good personal hygiene, protective clothing, waterproofs, safety footwear so you're not going to get nails or cuts, etc. But also things to stop liquid splashing into your face. So covering wounds, etc. And education of exposed persons of why it's so important to try and take measures to stop any liquid that may be infected with rat urine getting into the body. So thanks very much for watching. That's a take 5 on leptospirosis or Weils disease.